Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Berlin's online event. As you can imagine, all events are online at the moment. It's fantastic to see so many people here. We have a fantastic speaker here today. It's Olga Filipova. Just for you to understand that you're in the right course, in the right virtual event out of all virtual events happening in the world. This event is all about how do you create online course from scratch. A lot of you are trainers, a lot of you are consultants or coaches, and as you can imagine, classroom learning is not possible anymore. So that's why we're here today. I'm Olga Filipova. I'm here, who's going to be the host of the event tonight. At the same time, if you see me flicking and going to my computer, making funny eye movements, and admitting people who arrive a bit later to our event. So, you know, I'm still with you. It's just doing a bit of multitasking. I'm a founder of Berlin, which is a network and a community for learning professionals in Berlin. If you're not from Berlin, welcome. It's even nicer to have such a borderless community here. With all those horrors of pandemic, we have noticed that our community has grown to be beyond Berlin, beyond Germany, beyond Europe. So all of you here who are from different parts of the world, it's fantastic. You can use a chat to actually tell us where you're from. We are very, very curious. So just where you're from, where you at the moment, hiding away in self-isolation, please put it in the chat. It will be really, really interesting to know where you're from. So Berlin is a network for learning professionals. We provide educational events. We have lots of events. We work with different partners from universities, from corporates, from startups, and so on and so forth. We work on different European Commission grants and support different companies with that. At the same time, doing matchmaking, helping companies and learning professionals find each other, and so on and so forth. So join our community is for free. It's a not-profit organization. So it's brilliant to have all of you. If you'd like to support us, even better. So it's a not-for-profit organization. We don't have any big companies standing behind us. It's all about bringing the knowledge to the community, exchanging and learning together. So enough about myself for today. The question today is, why are you here? You're here because you probably want to create online course, either for yourself or for your company. And we have a fantastic speaker with us today. It's Olga Filipova. She's the founder of Workademy. And I know her through Berlin Network. She was one of the first people that joined it, which is fantastic to have the speakers who are part of the community, which is even better. So before we go into presentation and the official parts, I would invite you to go to slido.com, and you all have received a link. And I would like to ask you a very, very simple question. And the question is, what do you want? Whether you have any experience. The question is, why are you here? And have you ever created an online course? So you go to slido.com and enter the code 29808 and select one answer. Okay, fantastic. We have answers coming in. We have people coming in as well, so I keep admitting them. Okay. Cool. Okay, yes, for someone else. More answers. Okay, we have most people here who would like to create it for their own company. Brilliant. More people keep coming in. Wonderful. This information is going to be confidential, so we don't really know who is answering what. It's just for Olga and myself to understand your initiatives, your priorities, and so on and so forth. Okay, nice, 14 answers. We'll wait a bit longer, and then we can jump straight in the presentation, in the official part. And the official part is going to be as follows. As you have read in the presentation of the event, it's going to be a fireside chat. For those who are not familiar with the structure of fireside chat, it means imagine you sitting by the fire, by having a camine fireplace with a glass of wine, and you're chatting about any topic you want to chat about. So it's not going to be a presentation per se, where you have Olga speaking for 1.5 hours and we're listening. It's going to be more of a conversation. So for the first half an hour, 20 minutes, Olga going to present about the structure of online courses, the history of that, in the most important parts for you to understand. And the rest of that is going to be about me asking questions and you asking questions. So you can also choose to go and ask any question that you want. So slido.com, if you swipe, you'll see all the questions and you can also upvote them. It's all anonymous. Don't worry, it's all fine. So I will stop sharing the screen, admit a couple of more people, and go for it. So, as I mentioned earlier, Olga is one of the most interesting persons that I know. And I can see all of your beautiful faces now, which is very nice since I changed the screen. Hello there. Lots of people that we have. So I would like to give a floor to Olga now.
Okay, so it's me speaking now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Super nice to meet you all. I am Olga, as Ola said. I am originally from Kiev, and I lived a long time in Portugal before moving to Berlin, and now I'm here in Berlin for already 6 years. And yeah, I will probably jump straight to the presentation because there I also have a slide about presenting myself. So it means that, yeah, I don't want to repeat myself so many times. So I will just start the presentation. And on an important note, I also don't want it to be like me presenting all the time. So even if during the presentation you feel kind of like asking the question, shoot it to Ola, and you, Ola, let's like make a chat. So instead of being monologue, let's make it as a conversation. It's all fine. So I will share my screen. Okay. Okay. So yeah, welcome to the presentation about how to create an online course from scratch. This is the outline of this presentation. I believe that it will not last more than 15 minutes maybe. So we'll talk about the online courses, why them, what types and formats, what tools are there, how do we apply the process to create them, what roles are involved, budgets, and where to put them. And yeah, we will have a little bit of hands-on experience with me. So as I said, I'm Olga, and I am a software engineer from my profession and my passion for already 15 years. And I also have been involved in e-learning for past 6 years and plus. And why is that? Is because 6 years ago, I co-founded together with my brother who lives in Kiev, Ukraine, an online education studio called EdEra, Educational Era, where for all these years we've been creating online courses from scratch. So starting with concept and going through all the phases until they are already online in production. For this time, EdEra has been developed over 70 online courses in cooperation with different entities. For example, with the Ministry of Education of Ukraine, EdEra has launched a couple of courses on behalf of reform of educational system of Ukraine. EdEra has been teaching teachers how to teach kids. Yeah, there are a lot more. So different target audience, different entities, different courses, and you can just go to the website. And yeah, of course, if you don't understand Ukrainian, you have to translate it to English, but yeah, check it for yourself. And recently, I also became a co-founder of Workademy. Workademy is educational technology startup in Berlin. And here we create technology that helps that, let's say, helps in creating and displaying the online education experiences. And we position it as a corporate education platform because we realized that it was a gap, and it still is in companies when it comes to bringing the online education experience to the employees, because of course we cannot expect from HRs and manager experience in instructional design or like learning, being learning expert experience. So companies that don't have dedicated learning and development department, they struggle, so they just grab some platforms and start like drag and drop some content there, and in the end it becomes again some repository of PowerPoints and PDFs instead of being like a nice learning experience. So this is what we try to achieve, try to bring this didactic methodics to the companies. Yeah, so and another disclaimer, everything that I'm going to talk, it's all based on my experience. So my experience working with EdEra and with Workademy. Okay, so history of online education actually, or let's put it not online education, but distance education goes back to, you see this year. It turns out people already there realize that sometimes students cannot be always in the university campus, but somehow they need help. So they started using parcel post to reach those students out, and then the students would send back some, I don't know, answers to tests or whatever. So it started actually a long time ago, and then it has been evolving. Then in some universities, they started using radio waves and radio channels to provide educational programs to the student. Then the TV came up to this scene. And then even before the internet, some universities started using their intranet to bring some knowledge online. And of course, when the internet happened, this became bigger and bigger until now. You know that there is probably no person who have never done any online course. And why is that? Because it is super convenient in today's crazy world. Even before Corona, it's not always possible to be able to go to the classroom or to the courses that happen offline. So it is super convenient for the students because you can study anytime and anywhere. It is convenient for the instructors because instead of going there and there and there, you just create your course once. Of course, you can enhance and should enhance it with some blended experience. So mixing online and offline is always good, but you can actually make it more efficient with having some of the learning experience online. And of course, it's saving time and money for training, especially for corporate training. So imagine that company, for every newcomer employee, has to bring trainers in to provide some trainings. And with online learning, it can be, I would not say it can be totally replaced, but it can definitely help to reduce the impact of spending a lot of money in offline trainings. And now you ask me, okay, it's all sounds interesting, but can I actually create an online course? Good news is that everyone can create high quality, engaging, beautiful online learning experiences. But you have to choose the right tools, you have to choose the right format, and you have to have resources for that. So let's talk about before we jump into tools and resources, let's talk about types and formats. If you Google for types of online courses, you will found so many different responses and websites, and you will see MOOCs, it's massive open online courses, and you will see some micro-learning, and you will see some text-based, video-based, interactive simulation, blah, 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 a lot of things. I think to not be drowned in the ocean of this like typing of online courses, you have to think about things like the length of the course, and it goes from the maybe micro learning to MOOCs. So for example, Coursera is like it has some courses can take months to take them, right? But it's like huge programs because it's all started in the universities, from the university programs, and of course it takes time. But then you, on the other hand, you have things like Duolingo, where you have like bite chunks, pieces of some learnings delivered to you every day. Then what you have to consider is how asynchronous it is, because what we do right now with you, it's asynchronous learning, right? Because we are talking and listening to each other simultaneously. And then if I put all of this online and create a course out of it, then it will be asynchronous learning, because you will be able to do it without me, on your pace, and on your time consideration. How interactive it is. So is it only like some information presented to people, or can people interact with it? How do you want to simulate actually some learning environment? And this is now we can talk about VR and all this kind of experiences where people feel immersed in the environment. So a lot of things to consider here. And yeah, when it comes to the formats, it's also a lot. So it can be text-based, as I said, it can be video courses, it can be interactive dialogue-based courses, it can be even some infographics. It is also an online learning, right? It can be comics, it can be mix of all of that. Important thing to think here is that the medium is the message. So when we think about it, let's go back to the school, or for some of you maybe, yeah, let's all go back to the school and think about some subjects that we loved. Why did you love them? For me, my favorite subjects were because the teacher was great. And also, if I think about the subjects that I didn't like, I also think about the teacher that was boring. So does it mean that there is no such thing as interesting or boring subject, but there is such thing as an interesting or boring teacher? I think it is. And the same is about how do you deliver the educational content to your students, to your online students. Because it can be super interesting content, but if you present it like running small font text, it will stop being interesting. But and on the other hand, if it's some, I don't know, content about I don't know, whales, but you put it with some infographics and maybe some animation, then it will become interesting. I mean, whales are interesting. I could not think of some not interesting example. Okay, so but important is that you got the message, and that I was the right medium to bring it to you. Okay, let's move on. Tools and platforms. There's so many tools to create online courses. Actually, it can even be Google Drive, like you write the text for your course in Google Docs, you create some slides in PowerPoint, you produce some tables in Excel sheets, and somehow you put it all together. But then there are some, of course, there are a lot of tools that are called so-called authoring tools, the tools where you can create your learning experiences. Some of them are like a powerful PowerPoint for e-learning, like Articulate, Storyline, or Adobe Captivate. Some of them provide very clean interface where you can create web-based courses and put different formats. You just when you think of what to use, first, of course, you have to think about what format do you want to produce. If it's like kind of PowerPoint format, then yeah, go maybe for Articulate, Storyline. If you want to deliver beautiful text based course, then probably Articulate Rise would be the best. You just have to have a look at all of them, classify the result of all of them, and see what is better for you. We will come back to this topic later. Roles. Okay, this was unexpected even for me. All of a sudden, from tools and platforms, we come to the roles. This is an example that I would like to bring what we do at EdEra when we create our online video courses. What roles do we involve in these courses? So first of all, of course, we need an expert in the field for which we create the course about. Then there should be a project manager who will coordinate the whole team. Instructional designer or methodologist, someone who will put the pedagogical experience together. A designer, illustrator, motion designer, animation designer, cameraman, video editor, web designer, a lot more. Don't be scared. EdEra is doing this for almost 7 years, and at EdEra already there are almost 40 people, and everything is already kind of very complex structured process. About budgets, yeah, because Ola also asked me to give some glance on how much can the courses cost. I put here an hypothetical Excel table that is blurred somehow, but I can tell you what can be considered when you calculate the budgets for your online course. So you think of the people who are involved, their hourly rate, and the activities that has to happen for this online course to be built. So first of all, we start from the brainstorm, right? And then we have the project manager, experts involved. Then we go into methodology and editing, shooting and video editing, identity and design, and so on. So this is a small example, hypothetical example, where a small course consisting of 4 units could cost around 12,000 euros. But of course, when thinking of a budget for your course, you have to consider 3 things, or maybe even more, but 3 important things is: how long will your course be? Do you have help, or are you on your own? And how high quality do you want it? And of course, how much money do you have? This is also important. And now I don't want to sound disappointing. I know it's not this one. Now I want to show the example of the course that was built on a low budget. You can find it on the link that it's there. It's a text-based course. It's not ugly. It's rather beautiful. We built it in 2 to 3 weeks. I had help of 3 people who were helping with the content and finding stock images. But then this is the text that was brought from the trusted sources. So we didn't have experts. We just went to the World Health Organization website, grabbed the text, compiled it, summarized it, and created quizzes based on this text. And we picked up some stock images to illustrate the text, because we didn't have budget. If we calculate like the amount of work and think how much did it cost, I would say that probably it's around maybe 3,000 to 4,000 or 5,000 euros. What would we do if we have budgets? What if we'd like to have a course like, for example, this one? So if you go to this link, you can see a very professionally made course that has its own design, that it has a hired actor, it has a brand book, it has the style developed only for this course. If we wanted to bring the course like this, we would probably spend around 50K. Because we would need to find experts in the field, virologists, some people who are considered authorities in the medical world. We would think of different format, of course, not just text-based. We would probably make some movie out of it, I don't know, or some documentary or a set of interviews. And of course, when you bring the video shooting, editing, production, post-production to the scene, it becomes more and more expensive. But if you can start from text-based course, it's fine. And it's also a nice learning experience. Okay. And now you are very sad and you say, but come on, I want to do it alone. Can I do it? Yes, there are people who do it. For example, Sandra can. I think Sandra is also here today. And you can check the link. This is a very beautiful, professionally made course on Udemy that has very nice transitions, very nice animations, and very nicely made design, production, post-production, everything is great. It's an 8-hour video course. It took around 5 months for Sandra to create. She built it on her own. She has like self-made home studio for shooting. But let's not forget that Sandra is not only an expert in the field she was creating a course about, she's also a teacher, and she studied design, animation design, motion design, graphics, and all these things. And now you ask, oh my God, 5 months of work to produce this 8 hours only? Think about movies. Movies are like what, 1 hour? And they take years to create, and they have billions of people working on them and huge budgets. So I think it's only fair that it takes so much time. So how do you start? Apply design thinking process and start with the MVP. Don't, because when we think about a very nicely done, very professional online course, we start procrastinating, right? Because it seems, the results seem so unachievable that it's better not to think how to start and just to become crazy. But we can actually start with a very small thing. So instead of building 10 hours, 60 videos, huge video course on whatever topic you're expert in, build one small lecture, text-based, and test it with your friends, see if there is interest. And of course, we have always to start with our target audience. We are going back to our formats and tools, because when you define the target audience for your course, then it makes it easier for you to define the format and tools that you will use. If this is, for example, a course for teenagers, Like at EdEra, we once developed a course on history of Ukraine um, for the school guys. And what do they do right now? This our target audience. They spend their time on Instagram. So we created this course as a set of Instagram stories. You know, so like this king posted a story, then someone put like, and it was amazing. It was a huge success because this was very targeted to them. So think about your target audience after you identify the persona of your target audience. Persona is in design and in this kind of thinking is a person that you like, a real person that you can imagine. You give this person a name, describe all the characteristic, and you can even think of some stories. So for example, the persona for that course on history could be like, imagine it's John. He's 17 years old. He has blue eyes. He comes from school. He sits and watches his TV series. This I don't know, Black Mirror. Yeah, what is happening now, right? We don't need to watch it anymore. It's around us. And then he remembers about his phone. So he grabs his phone. He sees some notifications on Instagram. Then he, okay. And this helps us to become this person. And you describe several of these personas, and then you will know actually what format do you want to build for them. And after you identify the format, then you know already the tool that will help you to build it. Because if this is like a PowerPoint kind of format that it's specific for this audience, then maybe you will go with PowerPoint or with those Adobe Captivate or Articulate Storyline. After you identified your target audience, maybe format, then before jumping into content development, think about learning objectives. What will students be able to do after they complete this course? And what is helping us identifying learning objectives is this Bloom's taxonomy. This is just a set of verbs that helps you to define very well-defined learning objectives. So you cannot say, for example, after finishing this course, the student will know about different formats of online courses. It's not right learning objectives. The right learning objective will be, after finishing this course, the student will be able to design a plan for his own online course. He will be able to use Bloom's taxonomy. He will be able to apply techniques of video shooting. He will be able to summarize the history of online education. So something very, very specific. When you have the specific goals identified for your course, this will make your life easier, and this will help you to plan the rest of the course. So after you have these very specific goals, you will jump into the evaluation. So how will you check that the person actually achieved this goal? And here you will probably design some tests, some questions, some quizzes, or maybe some essays or peer-to-peer checks. But the important thing is that it's really checking what you identified as your goal. And after you have the set of your evaluation points for each of them, you come up with a piece of content that will help people to answer this question or to perform this assessment task. This way, your content will be the only content that is needed for your learning objectives. There will not be noise in your content, and it will be the very nice and goal-oriented course. Okay, so, okay, now imagine that you went through this process, you designed the content, you have everything in place in some folders or whatever you system you use. For example, we use Google Drive. Yeah, we put all these things in Excel sheet and have Google Docs with the scripts and Google folders, Drive folders for the videos. But this is because we produce mostly video courses. Maybe if you work with the storyline, it will be some storyline files whatsoever. And then where to put it? There are plenty of ways. Yeah, when I saw this picture, I thought, okay, where to put it here? There are plenty of ways of going online with your online course. Maybe one of the very simple thing, if you have your own website and you don't need people to be authenticated in your course and don't need like have the progress bar being stored somewhere, then you can simply put the content on your custom website. If you want something more, so the assessment, the progress being calculated and stored, the information of students being stored, of course you can implement it by yourself, but maybe then you want to go to some already existing platform. And here you have to think, do you want to monetize it? Then maybe put it on Udemy. Or do you want it to have as your custom workspace? There are platforms also where you can launch your own branded workspace and put your courses there and sell them. For example, Teachable does it. You can also do it with Workademy. Yeah, a lot of different ways. I forgot to mention here the OpenEDX platform. This platform is from the guys from MIT. It's open source. You can self-host it, but I would advise you not to because it's very complex technically, but it's a very powerful platform when it comes to the learning features. It's not very beautiful, I would say, but it allows doing a lot of things, a lot of different types of quizzes and different types of assessment to get having paid certificates and so on. We use it at EdEra. We struggle with it because it's a complex monster when it comes to the technical issues. It's difficult to maintain and to scale, but I think that when it comes to the feature set, it's probably one of the richest platform in this regard. Okay, and now okay, time for live demo. Okay, so now what I would like to do is I will go to the Workademy website and I will create an online course based on the stuff that I was talking today. And we'll see how it goes because, yeah, you know, with live demos, things always don't go as you expect them to. Okay. Ola, you have to help me like doing something like this with you.
Absolutely. Yes, I can talk. I can talk.
You can talk. Great. Okay, so
Give me a chance to talk and I will talk.
okay, so I will.
We have more people coming in. Nice, beautiful.
Okay, so I will create a new course. This Zoom thing is always not where I expect it to be. And I will call it how to create an online course from scratch, demo. And I will write some description. Actually, I already have it stored in HTML format. We can also use an HTML format here. Okay. No, wait. Yeah, looks okay. Promo video, not yet. Maybe 15 minutes, and maybe, yeah, we wanted to have certificate, and yeah, maybe 3 modules, 3 lectures in each module, and Okay, right. Okay, now we have this course here, and we can edit it in line. Actually, this is our recent feature that we've implemented like last week, and still fixing some things in it, but I'm super happy with it. So we can come here and edit just in place. And okay, so module 1, let's, I decided to have 3 modules for this course. One that talks about the online courses history, types and formats. Another one that talks about tools and platforms, authoring tools and platforms. And then the third module will be how to start. Okay, online courses. Okay, and let's save and let's check if it works. Yeah, we have lecture here. We can put some image here. For example, this one. Yeah, I don't want to take a lot of time. You understand that we can edit sections and questions. Yes, of course. And of course, I already pre-did some work before this session, and here it is. You can actually find it on the, if you go to workademy.com courses, it's here, and it's not complete yet. You see work in progress alert, but I started working on it. Correspondence courses, universities going online, massive open online courses, then about the types and formats, video courses with some examples from EdEra. Yeah, so that's it. So during this presentation, I spoke about my experience, and we got even into getting our hands dirty and implementing a small online course based on this conversation. And I will, once I finish it, I'll tell Ola to tell you that you can go there and check your knowledge about it and even get the digital certificate. I'm done. I will stop sharing. I know, wait, stop. The thank you slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Slide. That's the most important one. Brilliant, Olga. Thank you so much. Loved it. It's so easy. It's like WordPress website created. Very simple. Nice. Now, we actually, as mentioned before, we're going to have a bit of more interactive chat. I see a lot of you already submitting lots of questions, which is brilliant. Thank you so much, Olga, for having this very, very interesting conversation, very interesting presentation. I personally learned a lot myself, you know, from how to get dirty in a very hardcore, when you have to create animation and having actors and so on and so forth, to, you know, very, very simple, very basic course, which doesn't cost, you know, 8 months of your time or thousands and thousands of years. From what I've seen in our participants' responses, we have around 40–50% of companies and about 40 trainers, coaching consultants. So it's about, you know, it's quite equal. So the question is, for a lot of companies right now, is whether they want to have their own online platform created from scratch, or is it that they have to, you know, go and get a new platform. What is your opinion on that? What are the very, very first step? If I'm a company and I really want to create online course, but I don't really know whether I want to create, you know, 10 online courses for my company or just one. What would be the first step?
I start with the MVP, right? I would advise not to try building your platform on your own unless you have like oceans of money and a lot of free resources. Try using some cloud-based platform that is easy to set up. You don't have to install anything, and that has some trial period where you can just like get your hands dirty and see how is it to create online courses and how the employees react. At Workademy, we offer trial periods, and we also help to set up the customized workspaces. So if you feel it's not like super feature complete platform, but it allows adding videos, text, style it as you want, and create short quizzes. So I think it can be a good point to start with, because you can feel if online courses is for you or for your company, if you just starting, of course, because if you already have a lot of content and in SCORM format, it's a specific e-learning format, then maybe you should go with something more like big, like OpenEDX or whatever, something like that.
And so basically, if you're just starting, you don't really know what you're doing, and you're lost whether I should sign up for the massive platform and pay thousands of euros, or just, take it easy, have, very short, easy course, and then check whether employees even like it, whether they access it or not, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Nice. Question from my personal perspective, and I see a lot of people in the community have very similar challenge. A lot of people know me as a Berlin founder and a Berlin community manager, but it's not my personal main thing. Just like many participants here, I'm a trainer, I'm an independent trainer, and I work on the diversity, inclusion, intercultural communication. So I work with companies, I work with startups, I work with universities. And a lot of my current projects are on post, and I'm moving a lot of them online. A lot of companies said, okay, it's fine, we can do it online. So I do, online workshops, trainings, not spending the whole day online, but, separating them. And a lot of companies approach me now saying, can you create online course from scratch? And I would be very confident that it's resonates with a lot of people here today. What is my first step as a trainer? Do I need to create a course going to Workademy, or do I need to hire somebody because I'm as you mentioned, this really cool word, I'm a topic expert or knowledge expert, whatever you said. It's a
subject matter expert.
Subject matter expert, exactly. It's a nice word. Subject matter expert. Do I necessarily have to be a creator myself if I want to do it fast, or am I just a subject matter? And especially if I want to do it not for public, but if I want to do it for a specific company, and not to have it somewhere on Udemy or Workademy and so on and so forth.
I think that even if you do it for a closed, like a very narrowed target audience, it still has to be great. And being a good subject matter expert doesn't necessarily means that you are able to do it on your own. So I would involve experts in creating online courses, but again, start with the MVP. Like create a small lecture and show it to your client. Ask them if it's good enough, if it's engaging enough. But yeah, don't start like with very big thing. And yeah, I would probably involve, you surely have instructional designers and designers in your community, involve them and like create a small chunk of content with them, but only after you define the learning objectives.
That's definitely the most important one.
And another thing that you said that I don't want to go with Udemy or Workademy, you actually can deliver the content that you produce for your clients with Workademy platform. So imagine if your clients don't have any platform yet and they ask you for like a full experience, we can set up a workspace for them and you create your course there and you give them with the workspace and say, hey, here is the full blown thing for you. But usually this clients who ask for courses, they probably already have their own platforms. So you have to also consider which kind of platform they use, to be careful with the kind of content that you produce, because yeah, some platforms cannot eat some kind of format.
So it means you have to really, before you even consider creating a course and doing anything, you need to know how you're going to integrate that and what kind of
Yes.
you want to use. Okay. Okay, wonderful. Very, very interesting. We have some questions from the audience. Which other guidelines other than Bloom's taxonomy to define learning outcomes could be used?
I don't know. We only used this one so far, and it worked so great that we haven't considered. But sometimes somehow it works even without it, when you start brainstorming, and once you identify your persona of your target audience, then you already somehow know what they need. So sometimes this step somehow is skipped because we were able to really narrow down the persona of our target group. But yeah, I'm sure that from the pedagogical perspective, there should be plenty of other ways of identifying objectives of your learning.
Thank you. What do you think about Moodle LMS as an option?
Well, it's probably the most stable LMS in the world, right? Because it has 3,000 years. But it proved itself. Probably from the feature set, it's even more powerful than OpenEDX. But no. We used it at EdEra before we started using OpenEDX, and yeah, we tried a lot to make its UI and UX better, applying our own styling, but we were not able to make it like looking great and being great in user experience, because even if we would apply some theme, some button would become broken, and it was not. But I know a lot of people who, and universities, who are super stick to Moodle because they've been using it for ages and they know how to use it, and why doing anything else. And
Yeah,
probably it has improved a lot lately. I don't know. I haven't looked at it like for maybe 4 past years.
yeah, I know a lot of universities, especially in Germany, use Moodle a lot.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Well, UX is definitely yeah, not the top. Any experience with Prezi videos? Eileen is asking.
Prezi is the presentation thing that makes this kind of presentation. I already saw some learning experience being delivered with Prezi. It looks great, but I've never worked with it, so like me personally.
Mm-hmm. How do you analyze or integrate different learning behavior? For one person, the video may be good. For another presentation, as an audio story.
This topic is one of the most difficult topics in online learning, because right, you cannot see your students, so you have to check databases and some analytics data to measure the involvement behavior and engagement thing. And it's been one of the super discussed topics, like why do people drop out? And this is pretty much related to what you say. So you can see when people reach out to some certain point at video and they dropped, or but you don't know why that happened. Sometimes it happens that the course is too difficult, and the target audience probably was not communicated well, or outreach of it was not was too broad. And then a lot of people came to this course who were not prepared for this level of difficulty, which doesn't mean that the course is bad. So there is no straight answer to this question. We've been analyzing the data. We've been checking like how many modules people passed before dropping out. But then you also have this thing that when you have a certificate after the course, a lot of people like to receive certificates, so they do everything, and maybe they even don't like the course, but they like the fact to receive certificate. So this kind of gamification thing is also really important. That's why, I don't know, I think we will still spend some time analyzing this online behavior of people. Maybe with VR it will be easier, but right now we have numbers, but it's difficult to see the feelings behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually, very interesting what you mentioned about VR. We had an event last week about virtual reality and how it is impacting, how it is impacted by coronavirus in terms of, you know, the problem of mental health of people, you know, in Spain and France and Italy being stuck inside. We're very lucky in Germany to being able to go outside and enjoy some sun occasionally if you, you know, use some common sense. But a lot of people, you know, according to lots of reports, there's a mental health problems, there's a lot of depressions starting in virtual reality, you know, it's kind of like getting to help in a sense. And it's definitely interesting how everyone is learning now, everyone, because everybody suddenly found themselves unable to go to bars, unable to meet friends, unable to go to dance classes, unable to go to fitness classes. And what can you do? You read a book, you learn, or, you know, you start online courses, or you either develop your own, or you go, you know, you learn from somewhere else. I'm doing both. I'm not sure about the audience, but I'm definitely doing both as well. And we have another question from the audience, which is, how do you increase interactivity of a very low budget online course?
For example, in Corona course, that was very low budget, text-based. We did it using tests. So we, for each lecture, very short lecture with 2-3 questions where you can click and interact. So this is the most straightforward way. When you cannot have, I don't know, interactive dialogues, for example, or I don't know, more interaction there where you can click and based on that click something will happen. So the most straightforward thing is to introduce questions, and it's helpful for learning when you mix like text, because text is a little bit boring, let's say, and after the text you have questions and the person can immediately have feedback of how they learn. So this was the way we did it.
What do you think is the most common mistake that corporates make when they introduce an online course, especially for the first time to the employees?
Well, based on our experience, it's if they have money, they actually don't look at they just buy something and they give it to the employees. And they think, okay, we spent so much money, so now everyone will be happy. But then if they didn't check the content and it's something, or if they didn't check the platform and it doesn't work, its UX is horrible, then what happens is that when you say to the employees, hey, we have online training for you, they'll, no. Yeah, and this is sad. This is actually why we decided to go with Workademy, because well, I saw a lot of people going like, no, and then, oh my God, I want to make it. Yes. Yeah, so I think that the mistake is that they don't analyze their target audience. The managers, they don't think about their employees as actually personas of the online course that they are providing to them. They don't try to get into their mindset and what they need. And what they need, they actually, they love to learn. Everyone loves to learn, but no one loves to be totally lost in the platform, or like not, you click somewhere and then everything got white, and yeah, some strange content. So I think that this is the mistake, that they don't get into the employees' mindset and trying to understand what they really need.
It seems very similar, very similar challenge for classroom learning as well. For me, as a trainer and a consultant that comes to companies, sometimes you don't even get a chance to analyze a target group. You give them a topic like, okay, we need diversity inclusion training for 1 week for 200 employees. Here is some money, and we'll see you on that date. And you arrived into the room full of people. And then you're really excited about, you hope they're as excited, and you realize they don't even know why they're here. It happened to me once when I arrived into a room of 30 people, 30 learners, and we were meant to spend the whole day together. And they asked me, like, I'm not really sure what we received a calendar invitation to be here on this day. We don't really know what's the training going to be about. So the next hour I had to like pitch myself why they should stay with me, why they should be excited about the topic. So yeah. That was awful. So it seems very familiar. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Okay, so I guess the same question will be for companies that are here present today with us is, before you even think about having an online course, you analyze the needs of your employees, and you analyze their maybe learning patterns, because everybody has different learning patterns, and try to make it more customized towards your own company, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, brilliant. We have another question popping in here. How do you incorporate, as we just talked about, how do you incorporate human interaction in the course and also value that type of interaction? Yeah, that's the question we just received.
How do you incorporate interaction?
Human interaction. I'm not particularly sure what it means, but Linda, let me unmute Linda. Let me find you here. And where is Linda? Linda, are you here? I can't see you. There's so many people here. Linda, would you like to speak, Linda?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm just curious about like live interaction with the people outside of the course. Like, how do you incorporate more interactive like feedback with your user or with your students?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so before Corona, we use a lot of blended learning. So, for example, I mean at EdEra, for example, at schools, the teachers would run some online version of the course, and then they would provide an offline experience, and we would mix it and interleave it in a way that people never, let's say, lose this human contact. And actually, blended learning is one of the, I think it's one of the most powerful things, because from one hand you have this a learning experience where no one is like watching you, you're doing it on your pace, but then you also have the teacher and peers in one classroom, and it's great because you can interact and change the experience and ask and answer questions. Okay, this what was before Corona. After Corona, right now we are exploring the something that we call a blended e-learning. So we want to explore the format of online courses where you have this pre-recorded static course, but then you also have live lectures like this one that we have in Zoom. We are now running the survey for this to see if it could be something that helps people in their learning experience, and if we get a lot of positive feedback, we will incorporate it into our platform. So you will be able to create mixed courses. So yeah, we are still working on it.
Thank you, Olga. I personally want to share also a little bit my own experience. I lectured at several universities in Berlin on the topic of diversity, inclusion, intercultural communication. And one of the courses that I'm doing is for CIH University. And the project is to support or mentor students that are part of the BSF project. So it's a big company in Berlin, just to analyze the company. And they meant to be a lot of blended learning, so to say. You have to come to the university, lecture them, and then do a lot of brainstorming and so on and so forth. So it's not possible. Now the groups are quite large. So instead of that, I decided to, and it's very, very difficult to get everyone together and to, arrange a call and discuss everything. So what we decided to do is I record short videos, very, very simple, like short videos on Loom. I use Loom and then put it online, 5 to 10 minutes. Everybody knows that now the attention span, it's like goldfish. It's less than 8 seconds, especially for students. So you record that, you send it to them, 5 to 10 minutes, then you arrange a call, you discuss something. So it's kind of like very, very basic online learning. So instead of just having blended like this, you do it in short video courses or audio courses even. I know one company that does, they record audio instead of having anything to do with video, and they use infographics for that. So it's another way, like a different way of integrating that. So all very, very different views depending on what you want to achieve and what is your budget. We have another question here. Do you see some trends that most schools will go virtual classrooms? They already did. They don't have another choice.
There is no choice. Yeah, this is but I mean, imagine that Corona was not here. I think that the trends would be more towards blended learning, because I don't see the full replacement of offline human interaction, but I see a lot of plus in some content being online. And I think that more and more schools would go towards blended thing, but I don't see it being replaced completely by virtual classroom. Now, yeah, we don't have choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of universities use Microsoft Teams now, which I personally find horrific. And it's, but every university has their own choice. I'm just wondering whether we have any more questions. If you would like to ask a specific question, raise your hand. I will unmute you and we'll continue in a conversation basis instead of me reading up all the questions. So that's your time to shine.
I have a question.
All right.
Will we have access to these questions after we finish the Zoom session, or will they be lost?
No, I have access to all the questions, no worries.
Okay.
And we also have a question whether there is a possibility to share the presentation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I will send it to you.
Yeah. Another question is there a good resource you can recommend to compare the authoring tools, what they provide and what not? So basically a comparison of all the platforms.
Yeah, there is this a very good resource called eLearning Industry. I will send it. It has a very, I don't know any tool that is not there. eLearning Industry, and you can compare everything. You can find the LMS software authoring tools, and you can compare like feature-wise, price-wise, everything. When you register your software there, they ask so many questions about what is possible and what's not. Then it's I think it's one of the best resources of everything that it is on the market, on this e-learning market. At least for me, yeah.
Cool, thank you very much. Another question that I have here is, what is the best thing for, what are the basic kind of equipment that I'm or any other trainers in the platform here will need to have? Just very, very basic.
Again, it depends on what kind of format do you want to produce. If it's a text-based course, then you just need your laptop and some notepad on your laptop. If you want to produce video courses, of course you can do it with your phone. Our first video courses on EdEra, we would use some old iPhones, and instead of microphones, we use this, how is it called, this thing for iPhone, garnitura. And still these courses were successful. So I don't think that you have to really invest to start, or maybe a webcam is enough. And for sure you have to check some like video production and post-production things. Maybe you can use something like iMovie, I don't know, or something very basic. So you don't have just talking head, because this is tiring a little bit. You have to have some maybe information appearing in something like that. Yeah, but I think that if you start from like 3 minutes video, you will be amazed on the amount of work and the time you will spend on this 3 minute video. But yes, it's not worth it. It's a very nice thing, because you see the result immediately and you can immediately share it and get the feedback.
Yeah, it's very funny what you mentioned about talking head. I went to Udemy a couple of days ago just to see what kind of diversity courses are out there already, and you'd see all these talking heads with some slides, or sometimes just some slides and voiceover. So yeah, that's sometimes very tragic to see. At the same time, you know, when you start from scratch, you can't suddenly hire all the actors and to have all your, I mean, not, at least not at the moment, you know, you can get your neighbors with wearing all the masks, and you could see this course was created during Corona. Everybody's wearing masks.
You know, I have a super sad experience with an online course that was created based on something that I did. So I wrote a book. Actually, I wrote 3 books already, technical books. But for my first book, the publisher decided to create an online course based on this book, and I was super happy. I said, hey, we can help because we have this studio, we can make it really professional. And they said, no, we just need that you say yes, I allow my book being used for this online course. You know what they did? They put the automated text reader reading the text and screenshots from the book, and they called it video course, and they put it under my name on their website. And I was super, like, it was, I don't know, I even don't have words to describe it. And some people buy it. That this is the most sad part of it. So yeah,
that's your reputation, that's for sure. That definitely could be ruined. I have a quick question here as well, that it's, which was the name of the tool you all use to create small video clips? I'm going to send it now. It's called Loom. Very simple, very easy you know, you can easily create an online course from that even. The beauty of Loom is that it's, you know, it's your talking head, but still it's your talking head on the very bottom of your shared slides. And it's like nice little circle, so it's not distracted. And then you don't need to download, upload all the course. You just send a link to people, create a passwords, and then they watch it. So that's super cool for this. Cool, we have a little bit of time left. If anybody has any specific questions, please go for that. Otherwise, we're going to have a bit of a summary right now. So the summary will be, you know, start with objectives. Yeah, the first thing first. Then, you know, talk to your employees before you even think about creating any online course. Think about objectives, think what they want, what they need, and so on and so forth. Olga, will you help me out here? What are the next main points from today's wonderful talk?
Start from the small thing, start from the MVP. Don't become crazy thinking of the big result that you want to achieve. You want to build something very small, get feedback, and then plan the next steps. Start from the learning objectives. Think of your target audience. Define the right format, then choose the tool, and then create your small chunk of thing, share it with the people from your target audience, and see the feedback, and then proceed to the rest.
Brilliant. Thank you very, very much. What is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Anything, email,
LinkedIn. I will send all the details in a follow-up email for everyone. Mm-hmm. So if people have any questions, whether they want to, you know, thinking of creating online course, or whether they want to, you know, see where they could integrate their online course into your platform, they will reach out to you. Yeah, I guess we're all done. I would like to say thank you to Olga for this beautiful, wonderful presentation. I think it was very, very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for the audience. You've been all very, very engaging, very, very interesting. We have on a regular basis events with Berlin. It's usually once a week or even twice a week when I'm feeling overly committed. It's anything that has to do with learning, anything that has to do with corporate learning. Next week, we're going to have an event. How do you deliver powerful presentations? Because suddenly all of us that are fantastic speakers on the stage, we suck online. I know it for sure for myself. So if you'd like to come, please be there. It's going to be next Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Join our Berlin community, support us, you know, talk to us at the same time, connect with us. And this community, this video is going to be recorded. It is recorded, and we will send it to you on YouTube. So thank you once again. If you would like to stay and chat with us in private now, you're going to stay here. So please. So once again, thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Ola. Hi, baby. There is a baby.